Yes, Parag. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear. Yes.
Yeah. Should we start? What?
Yes, madam, we can start.
Um, Directly, I'll introduce madam. 1 minute. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second day of our research methodology workshop. A hearty welcome to one and all. Today, we are going to have a resource person, Dr. Kavita Salunke. She will be dealing with the concepts in research. Basically a PhD holder from University of Pune. She has 4 masters at her credit with distinction and first class in education, in economics, distance education, and subject communication. Presently, she is the director of School of Education in Yashwantrao Chauhan Maharashtra Open University. Since 1993, she holds this post. She has 29 years of experience, of which 9 years she holds the experience of principalship in Salunke classes, and then she is there in the School of Education. She has attended more than 150 conferences at international and national level and more than 175 at state level. She has contributed not only in Maharashtra and India, but in countries like Jamaica, Spain, Nepal, and Thailand, where she has presented her research papers. In the workshops, she has participated not only as a resource person, but keeps learning as participants also and has attended a number of workshops. She has managed 23 major projects on various subjects like women's empowerment, content-based methodology, teacher effectiveness, models of teaching, curriculum development, and so on. She has 10 feathers in her cap, like Best Teacher Award, Best Social Worker, Best Granddaughter. It was bestowed upon her by the village from where she is. Then Savitribai Award from State Government Mumbai, Best Citizen Award of India Delhi in 2017 in Malaysia. She has also got the Best Work Award of Vishwakosh, that is the encyclopedia in Marathi. She has 70 plus publications on related fields of her qualification, wherein one is worth mentioning, all are worth mentioning, but I would like to mention one, content-based methodology, which has been printed by Prentice Hall of India from New Delhi. Friends, her biodata is very large number of pages, but we will experience her actually. So I will like to hand over the session to Dr. Kavita Salunke. Salunke madam, you are most welcome. All the best to you. And pardon me for not reading out the whole biodata, but because you will give your address and the participants will get it. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome all of you. Thank you. I hand over to Kavita Salunke, madam.
Madam, your mic is mute.
Yes, sir. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to my talk on the topic of research. Research concepts. I have tried to consider most of essential aspects of research. I hope you will find my efforts profitable and effective enough for creating a desire for significant and quality research. With best wishes for the same, I begin now. I want to share my screen. Just a minute. Okay. Can you see all of you? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can see your screen.
Yeah, okay, okay. Uh, Points of my lecture. In this lecture, I am going to cover the concepts. What is research? Meaning of research. It's very basic things, all of it. Motivation in research, significance of research, types of research, objective of research, conceptual and operational definitions, variables, invariables, attributes of variable, types of independent variable, dependent variable, intervening, confounding variable. Also, I'm going to talk about control group, pilot study, proposal writing, research ethics, and plagiarism. One by one, we'll go ahead. And if you have any query, please note down it. And after the session, you can ask. Thank you. First, we'll see what is research. There is a simple definition of research. Research is a systematic and scientific inquiry. It can also be defined as a systematic and scientific procedure of data collection, compilation, analysis, interpretation, and implication of problem. We have one more definition by Robert. Research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict, and control the observed phenomena. Research involves inductive and deductive method. Friends, from these definitions, we can say something about the meaning of research. That is, the research is an academic activity, and we should use term research in the technical sense. According to Clifford Woody, research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions, collecting, organizing and evaluating data, making deduction and reaching conclusions, and at least carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulating hypothesis or not. From these definitions, we can say about the meaning of research like this. Then one questions may arise in your mind. What makes people undertake research? It is a question of fundamental importance. The possible motives for doing research may be either one of these following which I have put here, or many of them. One is desire to get a research degree along with its concessional benefits. For example, if we are going to do PhD or MPhil or post-graduation in any subject, then our motive is to get research degree. Second thing, desire to face the challenge in solving the unsolved problem. That is, concern over practical problem initiates research. If we are doing job somewhere else and we are facing any problem, then the person who took research activity, then his motive is to face the challenge to solve the unsolved problem. Then third one, desire to get intellectual joy of doing some creative work. This type of research only one person can take who having internal stimulus. then desire to, their motive may be to be of service to society. And last not least, desire to get respectability. This type of research, for example, if we are going to do our DLIT degree, we don't get it is not important to get job or this type of, not, it is desirable at that time, but we get the respect if we do it. However, this is not an, many more factors such as directives of government about, then someone want to see what is the impact. Desire to understand casual relationship, social thinking, new thinking, and awaking and the like may as well motivate people to perform research operations. These are the motives of research if somebody wants to do research. You can also add some areas here. If we want to talk about the significance of research, then I would like to say all the areas and fields. It may be economical, it may be health, it may be education, or any faculty. First of all, it purifies the working and lives of individuals. Second thing, since it searches for knowledge in each discipline, through research, knowledge will be added. It improves the quality of human life. It shows how to make provisions of solutions to problem in a scientific manner. Also, it serves as the systematic efforts for acquiring new knowledge in all disciplines. This is the significance of research. Friends, when we do the research, we also have to mention what is the significance of our research. Then you can write it with the help of these points. This is all basic information. Now we have seen the what is meaning by research. Now I would like to share with you types of research. On the basis of elements of observation, descriptions, and the analysis of what happens under certain circumstances. All researchers involve the elements of observation, description, and analysis of what happens under certain circumstances. A rather simple 4-point analysis may be used to classify educational research. Practically, all studies fall under one or combination. Will now mixed method is very popular nowadays. So it may be combination or under one. First one, historical research. The process involves investigating, recording, analyzing, and interpreting the events of the past for the purpose of discovering generalization that are helpful in understanding the past and the personal present, and to a limited extent in anticipating the future. Mostly it is related to past. Second one, description research. Uses quantitative method to describe what is describing, recording, analyzing, and interpreting conditions that exist. It involves some type of comparison or contrast and attempts to discover relationship between existing nomenclature variables. Some form of statistical analysis is used to describe the result of the study. A survey method it is popular in this type of research. Then qualitative descriptive research uses non-quantitative method to describe what is qualitative descriptive research. Systematically procedure to discover non-quantifiable relationship between existing variables. And last one, experimental research describes that will be when certain variables are carefully controlled or manipulated. The focus is on variable relationship as defined here. Deliberate manipulation is always a part of the experimental method. In experimental method, you all know there are some designs. For example, if we conduct pre-experimental design, then case study or pre-post test or static groups comparison design we may use. In experimental design, post-test, only equivalent groups design is here. Pre-test, post-test, here also we need equivalent groups. For group design, here also we need equivalent. Then quasi-experimental design, pre-test, post-test, non-equivalent groups we can took here. The time series design, the equivalent time, factorial design, this type of designs we can take in experimental design. These four categories are not meant to imply that a study cannot include more than one category. We can also use various another criteria for classifying research studies, like general classification, quantitative, qualitative, according to the nature of study, descriptive, analytical, according to the purpose, applied and fundament, according to the research design, exploratory and conclusive, etc. In general classification, the quantitative research, it uses number for resolving the problem. So there is more emphasis on the collection of the numerical data. It follows the deductive approach. Some example of this type include one-to-one interview, focus groups, ethnography research, textbook analysis, and case study. The qualitative research, this type of research is based on non-numerical and unquantifiable elements such as words, feeling, emotions, etc. Therefore, this research data cannot be analyzed through the mathematical techniques. In this type, inductive approach is followed. The survey, descriptive research, correlation research are some of the examples of qualitative research. When we use the criteria and the nature of study, also we have two types. The descriptive research, it's the survey type of research work that deals with the present solution. In this type, the research worker has no control over the variables. And in the analytical research, for this type of research, the research worker uses the data and information that are already available and proceeds to critical evaluation. When we use the purpose of research according to the purpose, applied and fundamental research. These two categories. This type is research adds basics in disciplines. Problems are analyzed in the context of discipline. There are generalization. These are generalization that are developed assuming that other variables do not engage. The report writing is done in the language of the discipline. The fundamental research, this type of research aims to solve the problem of adding to the field of application of discipline. Several disciplines work together for solving the problem. Generally, the individual cases may not be generalized. In this type, variables constantly change. The report writing is done using the common language. And when the research design is used as the criterion, we have two types, the exploratory research and the conclusive research. The exploratory research, it aims to explore the research area. It does not aim to offer the final and conclusive answer to the research question. It has a loosely structured design. In it, flexible methodologies are used. There is no hypothesis testing and the findings are topic specific. The conclusion research, it supplies conclusive answer to the research questions. Those answers are final. Its research design is well structured and systematic. Formal methodology is followed. The hypotheses are tested and the findings that emerge are very much significant. The purpose of the research is to discover answer to questions through the applications of scientific procedure. Friends, these are the types of research. Now, I would like to focus on objective of the research. Each research study has its own specific purpose. Means देखो, अगर मैं स्टडी कर रही हूँ, मैं चाहती हूँ कि कंटेंट कम मेथडोलॉजी, कंटेंट बेस्ड मेथडोलॉजी का इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है. तो मेरा जो स्टडी है वो समझो कि ग्रेजुएट एंड पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट के ऊपर, कि टीचर एजुकेशन में दोनों टाइप के स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं, तो उनके ऊपर क्या क्या इफेक्ट होता है ये मैं चेक करना चाहती हूँ. मेरा दूसरा कलीग है, वो भी वही रिसर्च करना चाहता है, लेकिन वो चाहता है कि स्ट्रक्चर एंड अनस्ट्रक्चर डिसिप्लिन अगर होगी तो स्ट्रक्चर डिसिप्लिन पे कंटेंट कम मेथडोलॉजी का क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है और अनस्ट्रक्चर डिसिप्लिन में क्या होता है. वैसे ही समझो वैल्यू एजुकेशन में काम कर रहे हैं, तो वैल्यू एजुकेशन जब हम लेते हैं तो उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या हो रहा है, बच्चों के ऊपर क्या हो रहा है, टीचर के ऊपर क्या हो रहा है. मतलब फोकस पर्पस में भी डिफर. We may think of research objective as falling into number of following broad grouping. The main aim of the research is to find out the truth which is hidden and which has not been discovered as yet. Though each research study has its own specific purpose. We may think of research objective as now I am going to mention into a number of following broad groupings. To gain familiarity with a phenomena or to achieve new insight into it. We may formulate our objective related to this point. The property accurately the characteristics of a particular individual's situation or groups may be related to this point. To determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else, or to test hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables. Our objectives may be related to this type of points. See, here one study development of program for the augmentation of English language learning in Arabic students. For this, what are the objectives we can find? See, to find out the problems of Arabic students in English language proficiency. To develop a need-based program to augment the English language proficiency of the Arabic students studying bachelor's or master's in so for university. Or to find out effectiveness of the program developed for the Arabic student studying bachelor and masters in XYZ university. This type of objectives, whatever purpose we have, we can formulate. Then when we conduct any type of research, the conceptual and operational definitions are very, very important. There are two types of definition we use in the research, conceptual and operational definition. Conceptual definitions is a definition that outlines the basic principles underlying a term. It's a general definition which is accepted to all. An operational definition outlines a metric for quantifying something of interest. Means what I want to study. That is mentioned in the operational definition. In what is the meaning of the word which I have used in my research. It is operational definition. And these definitions, we write whatever research title we have, the main concepts, we write the conceptual and operational definition. It also helps us to formulate the scope and limitations, variables. It helps us. So, see, same topic if we took development of program for the augmentation of English language learning in Arabic student. In this, see, Arabic student is the one concept in the title. Then conceptual definition, if I want to write, what I would write? I would write students whose mother tongue is Arabic. It is a conceptual definition. But what is my focus? Then operational definition, I should write students from Middle East countries whose mother tongue is Arabic and who are pursuing bachelor's and master's degree from XYZ university. This is my operation. It's different from conceptual definition. English language learning. If I want to write second concept which I have included in my title, then English language learning. Then conceptual definition, what will be the knowledge or skills acquired by instructions or study. This is English language. And the operational definition, to enable the studies to use the LSRW skills of English language proficiency. This is my operational definition. If I want to study another topic I would like to discuss. देखो, समझो higher primary क्लास जो है वहाँ के टीचर्स को वैल्यूज ट्रांसफॉर्म करना है और वो इफेक्टिवली करनी है। तो मैं समझो ऐसा टाइटल लिखूंगी कि हायर सेकेंडरी लेवल पे वैल्यूज ट्रांसफॉर्म करने के लिए मटेरियल डेवलपमेंट एंड टू चेक द इफेक्टिवनेस ऑफ इट। देन in this condition, what will be the conceptual definitions and operational definitions of my? See, one minute only, sorry. देखो, उच्च प्राथमिक what higher primary level, तो as per our national policy from 6 to 8, this is higher primary level, but in my research I am going to study नासिक तालुका जो है या इगतपुरी तालुका जो है उसमें से जो 6 to 8 स्टैंडर्ड के क्लास वर्ग है उसमें से मैं लेने वाली हूँ टीचर्स। तो ये मेरी होगी ऑपरेशनल डेफिनेशन। वैसे ही वैल्यू एजुकेशन की कंसेप्चुअल डेफिनेशन होगी ऑल वैल्यूज, बट ऑपरेशनल डेफिनेशन होगी मैं जो भी 2, 3, 4 वैल्यू स्टडीज के लिए लेने वाली हूँ वो वैल्यूज, ये होगी मेरी ऑपरेशनल डेफिनेशन। तो इस तरह से हम कंसेप्चुअल एंड ऑपरेशनल डेफिनेशन में डिफरेंशिएट करते हैं। ओके, नाउ आई वांट टू say about variables. Friends, variables is defined as anything that has quantity or quality that varies. It's called variables. If we prepared a concept map of our research topic, then we found all the variables which we want to study. If we see the meaning of variables, a variable is a characteristics of attribute of an individual or an organization. Researcher can measure or observe or varies among individual or organization study. They are key ideas that researchers seeks to collect information on to address the purpose of their study. Now I would like to show you one table where the variables characteristics or attributes we can see. Variables can be measured and it varies among individuals. Variables can be measured, can be assessed on the instrument or different objects recorded on an instrument, and varies can be assumed values or scores for the different individuals. See, can be measured or varies. जब हम लोग वेरिएबल्स लिखते हैं ना, तो जब हम हाइपोथेसिस लिखते हैं तो हाइपोथेसिस क्या होता है? हाइपोथेसिस होता है कॉज इफेक्ट रिलेशनशिप। कुछ तो भी एक चीज होती है उसका इम्पैक्ट दूसरी चीज पे होता है, और ये जो है सेंटेंस इसी के आधार पे हम लोग वेरिएबल्स लिखते हैं। जो कॉज होता है उसको हम लोग इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल बोलते हैं। एंड जो इफेक्ट जिसके ऊपर इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है उसको हम लोग डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल होते हैं। और इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल के बारे में जब हम लोग ट्रीटमेंट करते हैं या कुछ ट्रेनिंग देते हैं या और कुछ करते हैं, तो जब वो डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल की तरफ जाता है तो बीच में कुछ इंटरवीनिंग वेरिएबल्स रहते हैं जो कि हम मेजर नहीं करते। इन एक्सपेरिमेंट मेथड some designs are there, they automatically control all the variables, but in survey descriptive method may not be. For example, समझो वैल्यू एजुकेशन के बारे में मैंने अभी बताया आपको, तो एक प्रोग्राम तैयार किया हुआ है और जिसका बीएड छात्रों के ऊपर क्या उनकी मोटिवेशन लेवल या उनका कंटेंट या उनका एटीट्यूड या एक्चुअल टीचिंग के ऊपर क्या परिणाम होता है, ये हमें देखना है। वैल्यू एजुकेशन का जो पैकेज तैयार किया हुआ है वो टीचर एजुकेशन के स्टूडेंट्स को, टीचर ट्रेनिंग को हम लोग देते हैं, तो उसका इम्पैक्ट वो स्टूडेंट का जो मोटिवेशन लेवल है या उसका नॉलेज है या उसका एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स द टीचिंग है या वैल्यूज इनकलकेशन इन टीचिंग हो, तो इसके ऊपर क्या परिणाम होता है। तो जो वैल्यू एजुकेशन का प्रोग्राम तैयार किया है वो होगा इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल, और जो इम्पैक्ट होगा वो होगा बच्चों के ऊपर, मतलब टीचर ट्रेनिंग के ऊपर जो इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है वो होगा इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल। एंड जो कंफाउंडिंग वेरिएबल्स होंगे वो क्या होंगे, तो वो जो टीचर ट्रेनी है उसका एज उन्हें पीजी किया है, यूजी किया है, उसका सोशल बैकग्राउंड, उसका इकोनॉमिकल बैकग्राउंड, वो जिस कॉलेज में पढ़ने आ रहा है उस कॉलेज की सिचुएशन, उसको जो टीचर एजुकेटर्स पढ़ा रहे उनकी क्वालिटी, ये सब जो है इनका भी इम्पैक्ट होता है। लेकिन ये हम लोग कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाते, इसको हम लोग कॉन्फाउंडिंग वेरिएबल्स कहते हैं। तो इस तरह के वेरिएबल्स, कॉज एंड इफेक्ट रिलेशनशिप हाइपोथेसिस हम लोग जो भी लिखते हैं, तो उसके बाद हम लोग वेरिएबल्स या तो हम लोग एनालिसिस ऑफ टीचिंग, एनालिसिस ऑफ रिसर्च करते हैं, कंसेप्ट मैप बनाते हैं, उसके आधार से भी हम लोग वेरिएबल्स डिफाइन कर सकते हैं। ओके, see if measured variables है तो एक्सपेरिमेंट्स एंड सर्वे में यूज किए जाते हैं। इट इज एन इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दैट इज मेजर्ड इन स्टडी, क्योंकि इसका स्टडी करना होता है, तो इट इज इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दैट इज मेजर्ड इन स्टडी। A categorical or continuous variable that is measured or observed in the study, which is called measured variable. For example, age of child, performance on the test, attitudes, assist on survey. This type of examples we can give in measurable variables. Then second one, control variable. It is used in experiments and correlational studies. A special type of independent variable that is of secondary interest and is neutralized through statistical or design procedure. Means a variable not directly measured but controlled through statistical or research design procedure. In experiment we see some designs are there where already in design itself control some variables. For example, variables such as age, gender, socio-economical level, etc. Then third one, treatment variable. An independent variable manipulated by the researcher. It used in experiments. A categorical variable activity manipulated by the research and composed of two or more groups. For example, classroom learning, one group receives standard lecture and one group receives discussion. Researcher assigns students to groups and thus manipulate group member. Then moderating variables. It is also used in experiments. A special type of independent variables that is of secondary interest and combined with another independent variable to influence the dependent variable. A categorical or continuous variable measured or observed as it interact with other variables. For example, age, gender, socio-economical level, performance, attitude. These are manipulated variables such as classroom instructions, etc. Mainly we consider, but in research mainly we consider three types of variables that are dependent variable, independent variable and confounding variables, sometimes called superstitious variables. Dependent variable is the variable a research is interested in. It is variable which the research worker is trying to measure with the help of all the techniques. And independent variable is a variable which is believed to affect the dependent variable. The researcher or research worker is independent to check if it makes the dependent variable change. This is called dependent and independent variable. Cause-effect relationship. Cause is independent variable and impact is dependent variable. In survey, always we put hypothesis is in cause-effect relationship. And confounding variable, the confounding variable are the variables that cause interference, for example, social background, individual differences, etc. The interference caused by another variable, for example, social background, individual differences, etc. Confounding variables are not directly in the probable cause and effect sequence. Also, are attributes that the researcher cannot separate it from those of other variables, even though they may influence the relationship between the independent and dependent variable, like age, education, and socio-economical background and personal background, etc. This is about, I want to share with you about the variables. Now I want to talk on control group and experimental group. When we work when we conduct scientific research, in experiment research work, there are two groups in the sample, the control group and the experimental group. In ideal research conditions, both the groups are made identical in every way. So, if you remember, when we prepare two groups, we take median, and if it is similar, then we say these groups are similar. We took one test, divide students in two groups, or we took previous class information, we divide students in two groups, calculate the median, and then if the median is same, then we say that the groups are equivalent. The experimental group is subjected to the treatment, but the control group is not. In our experiment, we give treatment only to the experimental group. If I want to check the impact of content methodology on teaching, then in my experiment, I will give training only to experimental group about the content methodology. And for control group, they learn as they regularly learn. Therefore, their achievement in the specific research area are compared. Because of that, one group is given treatment and one group is not. Because of that, we can measure the impact of it. The research worker determines whether a treatment only has significant effect or not. These things are important in scientific research. Control group, and when we use control group and experimental group, then this is important. Now, I would like to talk on pilot study. Friends, pilot study must be conducted for both the qualitative and quantitative studies. In both studies, it is important and useful. Pilot studies have advantages of their own. It may be done for whole research in very short sample, or it may be done only for one aspect of research. Say, I want to standardize I want to see Sapramanta and Vishwasniyata. Then I took only the pilot study. I took only for the tools or techniques, or I want to see the statistical technique which is proper or not. Then I will took the pilot study only on that. Or if the experiment I want to conduct, then I will took it in whole. Pilot study have advantages of their own. They help to define the research questions. The research worker can test the purpose, study design and process. It brings forth the adverse issue and limitations that might affect the reliability of the conclusions. Reliability of the conclusion. They help to use the available resources, time and money carefully. Because of pilot study, the wastage of time, money and resources cannot be. We can check the property of the research tool, techniques and method for doing of the research tools. Techniques and methods for drawing conclusions on the whole pilot studies helps it to determine the feasibility of the purpose of research work. Friends, pilot study can be conducted for the entire research study or part of it, whatever I have talked earlier. These all the concepts are basic things which researchers should know. So first I have explained all these concepts which are related to research. Now, if you want to conduct the research and if you want to write a research proposal, then what are the steps? What you should write in the proposal, we will see. It is the proposal writing is most important and significant part of the research study, like a building structure. If we construct proper structure, then building get ready very, very qualitative. And like this, if the research proposal is our perfect, then we get the insight, directions, and proper guidelines for research. A good proposal paves the way for significant research activity. 6 parts which we have to see when we will write proposal. First, title. Title should be clear and specific. It should clearly indicate the area and problems addressed in work. See, I have taken one example, that is development of program for the augmentation of English language learning in Arabic students. From this title, we get idea that the researcher wants to study on Arabic students. What he wants to study? He wants to develop some material for augmentation of English language, and he wants to check the impact of it on Arabic students. See, from this title, we get clear idea, too specific, accurate, and in minimum words, research title should be there. Then, second one, background. Here, mention the present position. Why you want to take this research? What is the present position? What are the issues which you want to think upon that? And background of your research. Why you enter in this area? Why you want to do this research? Also include short literature review. If the researchers have already done in the same area, then review is important because we get idea about the methodology, about the findings, and what type of researchers already have done, what are the findings of them, so that when we write assumptions, at that time we can quote it. Summary of key debates also we have to write. So because of these points, why you want to conduct this research will be clear to the reader who is going through your research. Then research questions. What problems and issues you are going to explore? Why they are important? What are the research questions? Because on your research questions, your research methodology, your sample design, your analysis techniques, and all these things are related to it. So this reveals the significance, problems, and issues the research worker proposes to explore. They also indicate why these issues are important. Because of that, we should write research questions. Then research methodology. How you are going to conduct research? You should provide an outline of theoretical resources. What will be your research approach? Which method you are going to use? What are the limitations and delimitations of your research? Because each topic having huge scope, and the only one researcher, it's not possible to cover all the areas. So if you mention the limits and delimits of your research, So many questions are closed there. Then sample size, then tools and techniques of data collection and analysis. Research methodology. It provides an outline of the total research procedure. It provides detail of the method and approach of research, limitations and delimitation, detail of sample selection and its size, tools and techniques of data collection and their analysis. All these things we have to mention in research methodology. Time schedule, because each question having some period, no? And if we calculate the deadline, then we do work in that force also. समझो कि मैं एमफिल पीएचडी करने वाली हूँ. पीएचडी का टाइम पीरियड रहता है 3 साल. अगर मुझे 3 साल में करना है तो मुझे ईच एंड एवरी एक्टिविटी का टाइम टेबल बनाना होगा. अगर मैं टाइम टेबल बनाती हूँ तो मेरा वेस्टेज ऑफ मनी, वेस्टेज ऑफ टाइम, वेस्टेज ऑफ ये सब नहीं होता है. सो टाइम शेड्यूल इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. It is stage-wise timetable of research activities for monitoring proper speed and progress of the entire work. Because of that, time schedule is important. And not least, but the list of the references, article, websites, etc. you have to. Because of these points, we get the idea how we should move away, how in what way we have to do the research and research activity. These are the points. Friends, I am going to give you one activity. Write one proposal, research proposal, one page research proposal, whatever topic you would like. So these points are important for today's your activity. Okay. And one another point I want to share with you, that is ethics. Friends, ethics are very, very important. You see, in medical science, in law, there are code of conduct, and each lawyer, each doctor have to see any code of conduct will not be violable from him or her. Like that, in research also, ethics is significant because it governs the total standard of research conduct. It protects the dignity of the research endeavor and research work also.
असं वाटतंय की हे होतंय का?
WHO has also published some ethical standards for the research activities. Some of ethical principles I have mentioned here. See, honesty. Research ethics is a set of guidelines for the responsibility conduct of the research activity. So some points I have mentioned here. Honesty. It is a truthfulness in representing the research data, results, procedure, and publications of research. So don't manipulate your data, or do not write without collecting the data. Don't write that I have collected this and I have taken interviews, all these things. Honesty is very important in research. Objectivity. All types of bias in experimental designs, data analysis and interpretation, peer review and reporting should be avoided. Bias in experimental design, because if we are biased, then we won't get actual results. So objectivity of the research is very important. Integrity. The researcher must be sincere in his thinking and action. His thoughts and actions must be consistent. If it is, the research go on smoothly and do well work. Then carefulness. It consists in good records of research activities, in avoiding error and carefully examine. Carefulness is very important because of that we can avoid the errors. So carefulness is also important. Openness. The research worker should be open to new ideas and criticism. Nowadays, you have seen UGC guidelines are published on UGC website. 3 presentations are compulsory for each PhD researcher. At that time, when student present his proposal or the report or the techniques, tools and techniques, so many experts are there. They want to talk, want to suggest something to the researcher. If the researcher are not open, then it's not possible to get quality work. So the researcher work should be open to new ideas and criticism. He should be ready to share the details of his research work with others. Nobody can plagiarize your work, because nowadays so many tools are there. So openness in your is important. Share the details of your work and with others. Then respect for intellectual property. It is the respect for parents, copyrights and other forms of intellectual property. No research data or conclusion should be used without permission. If you want to use somebody else's work or diagram or any other thing, then first you ask him, take permission, and then with the credit you can use it. So respect for intellectual property. Confidentiality. All confidential communications, personal records and publications should be protected. Confidentiality is more important in some researches. If I'm going to conduct a research on AIDS persons and I disclose their names and all these things. So no, it's not good. It's not good. Because of that, maybe that person may face some problems. So no, all confidential communication, personal records and publications should be protected. Responsible publications. No wasteful or duplicative publications be made. बहुत बार क्या होता है, हम लोग एक जगह पे पेपर लिखते हैं, फिर दूसरी जगह टाइटल आ जाता है, तो हम लोग उसी में थोड़ा फेरफार चेंज करते हैं और वही दे देते हैं. तो ये जो थिंग है ये गुड नहीं है. वेस्ट होता है रिसर्चर का टाइम, जो पब्लिश करता है उनका भी, इकोनॉमिकल भी वेस्ट, पूरा हर सब वेस्ट होता है. तो ऐसा नहीं करना है. Responsible publication, no wasteful or duplication publications be made. Respect for colleagues. All colleagues and participants should be treated fairly. Social responsibility. The research worker should avoid all social conflicts and harms. Social responsibility. Because of our research, there should not be any type of social conflict or harms. We should take care. Legality. It is highly advisable to obey and follow all the laws and also rules and regulation of the social institution. If you are going to study about any institution, or if you are incorporating some data from the social institution, then legality should be, we should take care about legality. It is highly advisable to obey and follow all the laws and also the rules and regulations of the social institutions. Animal care. If your study is related to animal, then no harm should come to any animal. If it happens, then you are punishable. Laws say that if we do not take animal care, if animal get harmed, then you should be punished. No harm should come to any animal. Falsification. We should not manipulate the data and the research material by changing and omitting the data. I want this type of research, so I'm going to manipulate all the data. No, it's not good. Whatever data you have collected, whatever results you get, you mention all these as it is in your research thesis, because whatever you have get the results, it is your research finding, so you should write it as it is. We should not manipulate the data or the research material by changing and omitting the data. It is important. And plagiarism, we should not simply avoid it. We can't. Nowadays, every person have to give a plagiarism checkup certificate in his or her thesis. It is compulsory. Every and each university have made it compulsory, plagiarism certificate. And so many softwares are there where we can check the plagiarism. Each research worker should keep himself or herself from plagiarism. Every research worker should keep himself or herself from plagiarism. This word is divided from the Latin root plagiarize, which means to kidnap. चोरी की है आपने, plagiarism, चोरी की है. In research study, when someone uses the work of another person without giving credit to him, it is an instance of plagiarism. अगर हम लोग किसी का डाटा या कुछ उनका वर्क as it is use करते हैं without giving the credit, then it is instance plagiarism. हम लोगों ने बिल्कुल तत्काल प्लेगरिज्म किया है, ऐसे बताया जाता है. प्लेगरिज्म इज नॉट रिकमेंडेबल. हो गया, मुझे नहीं पता था, ऐसे नहीं कह सकते. इट्स नॉट रिकमेंडेबल. इट इज अ पनिशेबल ऑफेंस. इट इज अ पनिशेबल ऑफेंस. And for plagiarism, UGC and WHO also given some guidelines to all the institutes who conduct the research. So every researcher should take care about the plagiarism. It might adversely affect someone's career. If you do the plagiarism, then might be you will be reverse. Adverse effect of your career. Maybe your degree withdrawn, or so many punishes are there. You may face some about them. Very often, student and research worker use part of our articles without citing their authors or quote the portions or previously published works. बहुत लोगों को ऐसी आदत होती है, किसी का थोड़ा सा ले लेते हैं. अभी तो इंटरनेट की वजह से तो ये यूज चलता है, ये आर्टिकल खोला, वो आर्टिकल खोला, यहाँ का ये लिया, वहाँ का ये लिया, यहाँ का ये लिया, बस कट एंड पेस्ट हो गया आर्टिकल. Don't do like this. It is surely plagiarism. If you want to use somebody else's work, it's good, but give the credit. And जब somebody read your article and see all the references or credits which you have written there, your paper get weightage. जितने भी रेफरेंसेस आपने दिए हैं, जितने भी कोट आप लोगों ने किए हुए, उसका अगर क्रेडिट आप लोग एक एक को दे देते हैं तो आपके पेपर का वेटेज जो है वो बढ़ता है. और ऐसे पता चलता है कि आपने बिफोर द वर्क और बिटवीन द वर्क उसके बारे में कितना कुछ जानने की कोशिश की है. सॉरी. टीचर्स मस्ट प्रिवेल सच एक्ट्स. स्टूडेंट को टीचर ने ये सब कुछ बताना चाहिए. सेल्फ प्लेगरिज्म भी होता है. इफ वी यूज आवर वर्क whatever we have published earlier or we have written somewhere and we use it again, then it is self-plagiarism. It is also punishable. The institute where you work, that institute can decide what punishment should be given that person who have done the self-plagiarism. It is related to writing, images, videos, any type of work which you have already done and you are going to use it again without giving credit and all these things, or without mentioning that I have already written it somewhere else and this is. So it is self-plagiarism and it is not good for the person. Plagiarism should not be done neither accidental or not deliberately. मतलब मुझे पता नहीं था, हो गया मेरे से, मुझे मालूम नहीं था ये ऐसा भी है, ऐसा कह के काम नहीं चलता है. Plagiarism means plagiarism. How you have done it, that's you are punishable if you have done plagiarism. Taking the consideration of characteristics of plagiarism, there are 5 types of plagiarism practices. Direct. Direct. You have took some part from somebody else's article and put it in your thesis or even article without giving credit. Mosaic. Accidental. You do not know that you are going to do the plagiarism. You are not aware of that. Accidentally it happens, then it is accidental plagiarism. Symbolic. If you have done it symbolic, suppose you use some diagram and all these things and symbolic. Expansion of ideas. You have plagiarized the idea of somebody else and you have explain or expand it as your own way. That is also expansion of ideas, plagiarism. Non-verbal plagiarism. Plagiarism word has come from, sorry. If you want to do good research, then please follow all these principles and work on that when you are you are doing the research, when you are writing the report, when you are writing the article. Because in University Grant Commission in India, compulsory to all researcher, PhD students to publish 2 articles in popular or ISBN number journal. Then if you follow all these things, and you write it, then it is good and quality work also. There is no doubt that we must check plagiarism through self-will and goodwill. Self-will and goodwill. We have to check plagiarism, self-will, internal motivation, my motivation, I want to do it, and goodwill. If somebody have taken the effort for some work, then we have to give them credit. There are plenty of online plagiarism tools available. So many for checking this plagiarism. No doubt some regional language are facing some problems, although today also for checking the plagiarism, no tools are available. But in future, it comes. And but the goodwill and self-will, these are the important words which make us to check the plagiarism and write self-certified certificate about the plagiarism. If the plagiarism tool is not available for regional language, you check yourself, you do it and write certificate. I have not done any type of plagiarism. All whole work is mine, which is I have done only in the guidance of my guide. And put it in your thesis. See what's the impact of it. For example, Urkud is a very popular and useful plagiarism software which used somewhere. Friends, I would like to discuss one proposal for you. See, one student have done one research. I'm going to discuss it because you are going to do the activity of proposal writing. So these are the 6 points in which you have to write your proposal. My student wants to work on ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी एंड कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी का जो बीएड करिकुलम है, उस करिकुलम का बीएड बीएड ट्रेनी जो होते हैं, मतलब स्टूडेंट्स जो है, उनके ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है। इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ओपन एंड कन्वेंशनल टीचर एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम ऑन टीचर ट्रेनिंग, ये उनका देखो कितना शॉर्ट एंड टू द पॉइंट टाइटल है। उससे हम लोगों को क्या पता चलता है कि ये जो बच्चा है ये ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी और कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी का जो भी करिकुलम है टीचर एजुकेशन का, उसका इम्पैक्ट चेक करना चाहता है। बस उतने ही वर्ड्स उनके टाइटल में आए हैं, बिल्कुल क्लियर। देन बैकग्राउंड, व्हाई ही वांट्स टू डू इट, क्यों उनको ऐसे लगा कि मुझे ये करना है। तो उन्होंने क्या सोचा कि एनसीटी, नेशनल काउंसिल ऑफ टीचर एजुकेशन जो है वो क्या करती है, हर 10 साल बाद एक टीचर एजुकेशन फ्रेमवर्क पब्लिश करती है, और उसके वो जो पब्लिश करती है उस हिसाब से हर एक यूनिवर्सिटी में करिकुलम तैयार होता है। अभी क्या हुआ, तो 1 साल का था, फिर 2 साल का हो गया, और 2 साल का ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी में भी 2 साल का है, यहाँ पे भी कन्वेंशनल भी 2 साल का है। तो टीचर एजुकेटर पे क्या उसका असर होता है, और उनको ये एक प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि वो खुद एक टीचर एजुकेटर है, तो उनको एक प्रॉब्लम सता रहा था कि क्या इम्पैक्ट में क्या चेंज हो रहा है, कितना सिलेबस हम लोगों ने चेंज कर दिया है, कौन सी एक्टिविटीज हम लोगों ने चेंज की है, कि जिसकी वजह से वो जो स्टूडेंट ट्रेनी है उसका मोटिवेशन लेवल, उसकी कंटेंट, उसका अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स द टीचर एजुकेशन और टीचिंग, ये सब चेंज हो सकता है। ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स उनके दिमाग में आ रही थी। ऑल्सो बहुत सारे रिसर्चेस भी हुए, इंटीग्रेटेड बीएड पे हुए, 1 ईयर बीएड के हुए ऊपर हुए, 2 ईयर बीएड के ऊपर हुए, तो वो भी उन्होंने रिव्यू किए और बैकग्राउंड में वो सब लिखा। फिर उन्होंने रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस लिखे। रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस क्या लिखे उन्होंने, तो उन्होंने लिखा कि ये जो बीएड है वो यशवंतराव चौहान ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी एंड कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी के बच्चों के मोटिवेशन लेवल पे क्या परिणाम करता है। फिर दूसरा क्वेश्चन उन्होंने लिखा कि ये जो टीचर एजुकेशन का करिकुलम है ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी एंड कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी, तो उसका वो टीचर ट्रेनी जो है उनके कंटेंट नॉलेज पे क्या असर करता है। देखो, फिर तीसरा क्वेश्चन उन्होंने लिखा कि ये जो बीएड है उसका टीचर का जो टीचिंग एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स द टीचिंग है, तो उसके ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है। फिर चौथा क्वेश्चन उन्होंने लिखा कि एक्चुअल टीचिंग पे उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है, ये जो करिकुलम है ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स एंड कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स। और फिर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स की मोटिवेशन लेवल, कंटेंट नॉलेज, एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स द टीचिंग एंड एक्चुअल टीचिंग, इसके ऊपर होने वाला इम्पैक्ट, और कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी में होने वाला इम्पैक्ट, उसका उन्होंने कंपैरेटिव करके क्या है वो चेक करना चाहा। तो देखो, ये क्वेश्चंस उन्होंने लिखने की वजह से उनको वेरिएबल्स मिल गए। यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल टीचर करिकुलम and independent variable teacher curriculum, and dependent variable motivation level, content knowledge, approach towards the teaching and actual teaching. These are the variables. When he put research questions, he found all these variables which he wants to check. Then research methodology. Here he have written that he had used mixed method. He have done some activity through the survey, and he have seen some impact of it. So for the impact of teaching, he have done two groups, and he have checked the impact of teaching. Then limitations, he have only took the seven universities from Maharashtra, the colleges which he have chosen, that the colleges which having both type of centers, conventional and open university also, this type of these tools which he have: content test, motivational test, then attitude test. Some of them he have borrowed and some of them he have prepared. And data, for data analysis he have used the t-test and percentage, and these are also, but t-test and correlations, this type of tools he have used. Then he have prepared time schedule because he wants to complete his work within 3 years, which time span he have given by the university. So he have jot down the activities which he should do in at the time of research, and then he have prepared some timetable. Also he have given the bibliography, which books और रिसर्चेस और आर्टिकल्स और वेबसाइट्स जो उन्होंने देखी है, देखना चाहता था, वो सब उन्होंने यहाँ पे लिस्ट डाउन किया है. तो इस टाइप का प्रपोजल हम लोग लिख सकते हैं. वी कैन राइट दिस टाइप ऑफ प्रपोजल with the help of these 6 points. And you all are who are attending this session and who are involved in this workshop, all should write the research proposal with the help of these points. Whatever research problem you are facing, so you have to do it. Write one-page proposal on your own research problem and submit it to the Bahai Academy. Friends, I think whatever I want to share with you about the research concepts that I have shared with you, and the points which I have covered in my session are concept of research, meaning of research, motivation in research, significance of research, types of research, objective of research, conceptual and operational definitions, variables, attributes of variables, types of independent variable, dependent variable, and intervening the variables, confounding variables, control group, pilot study, proposal writing, research ethics, plagiarism, all these concepts which are very, very important in research. Who wants to do research, he should know about the theory of all these concepts. Then only he can use all these things in his research, his or her research. So I have shared whatever I want. So I would like to stop here. Thank you very much to the Bahai Academy and all the respective members who are organizer of this research workshop. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak and share my ideas with all the enlightened persons in this workshop, who are enrolled for this workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salunke. Thank you very much, ma'am. Well explained. There are comments, but we will invite questions. Let us see if participants have some questions. They will please put your questions if you have any doubts in the chat box, and then madam will answer them.
Sir. Yes,
So
yes.
the chat box is open for you all. Don't start thanking friends. You ask questions because you have to do some activity. If you have any doubt, if you have any problem, you can ask your questions. So many thank yous are coming, Salunke madam, but we are expecting questions.
Yes.
Sorry. Radha madam has given one small piece of information. It is a tool which she has mentioned for plagiarism, which says ki 18% of definition etc. are allowed. So that is the Turnitin. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, Turnitin is a tool to check plagiarism. Thank you, Radha madam. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's correct.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Now, what is the difference between limitation and delimitation? Please give one or two examples. Now, limitation and delimitation. What is the difference between that?
जब हम लोग जो हमारा रिसर्च होता है तो उसको कुछ बाउंड्रीज हम लोग लगा लेते हैं कि आई एम डूइंग रिसर्च इन दिस बाउंड्रीज ओनली एंड दिस बाउंड्रीज इफ आई से आई एम गोइंग टू कलेक्ट डाटा फ्रॉम 2019 and 2020 year. That is the limitation. एंड डिलिमिटेशंस, लिमिटेशन में भी हम लोग और लिमिटेशन डालते हैं कि उसमें भी मैं सिर्फ इन दीज कॉलेजेस और ओनली फॉर द गर्ल्स हु आर डिप्लॉयड उनका ही डाटा मैं कलेक्ट करने वाली, तो वो और डिलिमिटेशन, दिस टाइप ऑफ लिमिटेशन में और छोटी छोटी लिमिटेशन जो होती है.
Hope the answer is sufficing. It is Dr. Kunda Halve, madam. Yes. Now, one another question is there from some Saira Khan. Can you please again the points of how to formulate research proposal? Maybe in the evening when you get the link, in that you will be able to see that slide. Or can we show them that slide, madam? Proposal wala slide हम बता सकते हैं उनको? वो जो 6 पॉइंट्स आपने बताए हैं उस 6 पॉइंट्स के आधार पर यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर 1 पेज प्रपोजल. या थोड़ा शेयर कर लेंगे, आप लोग देख लीजिए उसको एक बार. निंजा मट्टू मैडम, Nirja, hope we get all the slides to prepare our proposal.
Only the title of the research work which you want to do. Second point is write a background of the research topic, which topic you want to take for research, why, how, what is the present position, what are the issues, and why you want to study on that. This is under the background you can write. And also if there is any type of research, literature review, you also put it there so that weightage बढ़ जाएगा. Then research questions, what you want to find out, what are the questions you want to study, those questions you have to write there. Because of these questions you get the way how your research you can conduct, and also the variables you can identify from the research questions. And fourth one is research methodology. In this, what research approach you are going to, what will be your research approach, which method you want to use. If it is experimental, then experimental designs are also there. If you want to use descriptive study, then assessment study, evaluation study, comparative study, follow-up study, which type of study you want to do. This you should mention. Then limits and delimits. If you are not able to write delimits, you write only limits. Then also it is Okay, then sample size for your research. If you want to uh, reach to the conclusions, then what will be the your sample, what is your population, then what you are going to sample for the research. You mentioned there what are the tools and techniques which you are going to use for the research, also mention, and the tool for data collection. This comes under the research methodology. Then time schedule, because if you want to complete your research in time and you don't want to wastage your time, money and all these things, then you have to prepare the time schedule. And also bibliography, because whatever literature you review or read, it gives you the broader view of your research and ideas and concept clearance and all these things, so that you have to write the bibliography also. So 6 points you have to write: title, background, research questions, research methodology, time schedule, and bibliography. These are the 6 points for proposal writing.
Thank you, madam. There is another one question. Which points will come in importance of research and which points in significance of research? So importance and significance, in these two, कौन से इसमें ये आएंगे, points आएंगे, ये दोनों में, importance and significance.
इम्पोर्टेंस जो होता है ना, सिग्निफिकेंस में क्या होता है, इट इज वेरी important in all the areas of, first of all, it purifies the working and lives of the individuals. कौन से एरिया में आप काम करने वाले हैं, क्या है. सेकंड, it searches for knowledge. Since it searches for knowledge, कौन सा knowledge आप लोग उसमें से आपको मिलने वाला है. क्वालिटी ऑफ ह्यूमन लाइफ, उससे कुछ लाइफ मीन्स योर डे टू डे वर्क में कुछ फर्क पड़ने वाला है क्या. थर्ड, इट शोज हाउ टू मेक प्रोविजन ऑफ सोल्यूशन एंड प्रॉब्लम्स इन द सिग्निफिकेंस मैनर. ये सब सिग्निफिकेंस में आता है. इम्पोर्टेंस में जो भी आप रिसर्च वर्क करने वाले हो, वो रिसर्च वर्क आपके लिए तो फायदेमंद होगा ही, क्योंकि आपका प्रॉब्लम है, you have identified it, but it is also useful to all the involved persons from which your sample size is there, population is there. All population get useful. See, मैंने एक प्रपोजल अभी डिस्कस किया, ओपन एंड कन्वेंशनल यूनिवर्सिटी का बीएड जो करिकुलम है, उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है टीचर ट्रेनी पे. तो इसका इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है, तो इसकी वजह से कन्वेंशनल में कौन सी एक्टिविटी चलती है, ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी में कौन सी एक्टिविटी चलती है, और उसके हिसाब से उसका बच्चों का जो मोटिवेशनल लेवल है, जो ये एटीट्यूड है, कंटेंट नॉलेज है, उसके ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है वो पता चल जाता है. और वो जो स्ट्रेटेजीज है उस यूनिवर्सिटी की, वो हम लोग दूसरी जगह पे यूज कर सकते हैं. तो ये इम्पोर्टेंस मतलब कहाँ पे किनको और किस तरह से वो यूजफुल होने वाला है हमारे रिसर्च फाइंडिंग्स, दैट इज कम्स अंडर द इम्पोर्टेंस.
थैंक यू मैडम. There is another question. Is there any limitation of words? कितने शब्दों में लिखना है एक पेज प्रपोजल?
You can write it in 500 words, 1000 words, whatever you want. You can do it. But if you are going to submit the research proposal to one specific institution, then the institution having some word limitations, and you have to write in those.
But for you, for this activity that you have given them task, there is no limitation.
You can write. But
now somebody has asked, can you please kindly explain compounding variables?
Compounding variables I have already explained, but again if you just share kara the PPT. Compounding variables. 1 minute.
By that time there is another question. are we supposed to write need of the research?
Of the research, if not necessary here, but uh, not necessary here, but when you prepare detailed research proposal, then it is important. Confounding variables. Uh, the confounding variables are the variables that causes interference, for example, social background and individual differences. See, individual differences. Interference caused by another variable. For example, social background, individual and difference, which affect on the we can't control it also. Confounding variables are not directly in the probable cause and effect sequence. उसको नहीं हम लोग मेंशन करते. Confounding variables are attributes that the researcher cannot separated from those of other variables which I have mentioned just. हम लोग उसको सेपरेट नहीं कर पाते, even though they may influence the relationship between independent and dependent variables. These are the confidential confounding variables. It may call supersede variables also.
I hope it is clear now. There's another question. Is there any limitation of what? No. Which one takes more time? Now, as there is no limitation, Madam has said, so there is, I think this question is answered. Any more questions, friends? I think we need to put our attendance also, but then before that, let us be confident that we don't have any other question. Hope all the concepts in research are clear to you. Some questions had been raised, they are also answered. Any other question, any more? There are compliments for you, madam. Till when we need to submit the proposal? Tomorrow, by tomorrow 10 o'clock as usual. Yesterday also, yes, you were supposed to do the task and submit today by 10. And this one also. Parag, am I right? Mr.
Yes,
Parag?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
They will submit by tomorrow 10 o'clock. Okay.
Madam, there is a message for you in the chat box.
For me?
Yes, madam.
Where is it? What is it? Anything anything you want to say, Parag? No, I think there are no questions. Yeah, Madam, Salunke Madam,
Yes.
will you please share your PPT with the academy?
Yeah.
You had given to me also to in case we have any problem. So can you please send it to the academy? We can share it with
I
academy.
will. I will send it now.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah. Anything else? Any question, friends? Now I think everybody is in a hurry to go home, I think. Go home from the class. So please put your roll numbers, ID numbers and your name in the chat box so that attendance can be marked. And I thank you, Dr. Salunke, very much for your very nice and well-maintained speed. You have given good knowledge and enough information so that participants can make one-page proposal. And all the participants, best of luck to you all for preparing one-page proposal and for taking part in this workshop today. And then we will meet tomorrow again. Then please put your names and attendance. So Then after everyone has put their names, then we can. Unless and until Parag wants to say something, or
No, ma'am.
Plane Madam wants to say something. Plane Madam wants to say something.
Hello, madam.
Yes, madam. Bola.
It
Yes,
was
ma'am.
very nice to hear Dr. Kavita, madam.